Good morning, guys. The hustle and bustle of the local market near my house had made me feel how lively and energetic the Vietnamese morning vibe is. To kick off trip to Da Nang, Cham, Hoi An and Banana Hills within 5 days and 4 nights, I got up quite early to pack my luggage and catch a taxi to the airport. As you can see, the sky was slowly brightening, more vehicles were showing up on the streets, and the street lights were gradually turning off. Long time ago, I used to wish that I could visit Da Nang, Hoi An, and Banana Hills. Finally, I had a chance to make it happen. I feel incredibly excited. To make the most of my time and enjoy a full day in Da Nang, I drove an early flight with Vietnam Airlines. After completing the check-in process, a shuttle bus took everyone to the domestic aircraft waiting area. When I travel by plane, I always go with airlines known for their on-time flight, because if there's a delay, my travel plans will be delayed too. My flight from Saigon to Da Nang took about 1 hour and 20 minutes, so I expected to arrive in Da Nang around 9 a.m. Da Nang welcomed me with a beautiful sunny day, more pleasant weather than in Saigon. While on the way from Da Nang airport to my accommodation, I noticed how clean and beautiful the streets of Da Nang were. Just by observing the transportation, I could already feel and get a glimpse into the lifestyle, culture, and kindness of the locals. To make it easier to visit tourist spots and enjoy the beach, I booked an apartment right across from Mike Beach. It had 2 bedrooms, was fully furnished with a kitchen, and cost about $270, which were quite reasonable for my family. Laundry is definitely essential while traveling, so the apartment came equipped with a washing machine, detergent, and hangers. Plus, the balcony with a sea view was super breezy, perfect for drying clothes, taking photos, relaxing, or even having a barbecue. It couldn't get any better than that. The plan for the first day in Da Nang was to visit Linh Ưng Pagoda on Sơn Trà Peninsula. People say better safe than sorry. Since Da Nang is also known for its spiritual sites, it feels right to visit Linh Ưng Pagoda and pray for peace and safety throughout the trip. From where I was staying, one thing I really appreciate about Da Nang is that most tourism services have listed prices, so you don't have to worry about being overcharged or haggled. Finally, I arrived at Linh Ưng Pagoda. To be honest, I was really overwhelmed just by the view from the parking lot in front of the pagoda. It was so stunning and peaceful that it instantly touched my heart. Linh Ưng Pagoda on Sơn Trà Peninsula was built in 2010 and has become a major attraction for visitors. Its most iconic feature with the 67-meter tall statue from the Lady Buddha, the tallest Buddha statue in Vietnam. The pagoda is also associated with a spiritual legend. Long ago, Sơn Trà Peninsula was wild and rugged. Fishermen often faced strong waves and storms. One day, a Buddha statue was found drifting ashore at the foot of the mountain. Locals brought it back and built a small shrine to worship it. After that, the sea around Sơn Trà became calmer and fishing trips were more successful and safe. People believed the Buddha had answered their prayers, so they named the place Linh Ưng, which means spiritual response. It was already noon, so I made my way to Gòn Market for some food and drinks. The market is located right in the center of Da Nang. I stopped by because I wanted to try the local dishes and observe how kindness of the local people here. Gòn Market is quite large and has different sections: clothing, shoes, and of course, food. The food court alone has so many stalls. I didn't even know where to begin or what to eat first. As I walked around, the smell of the food was so good and I was so starving. Even though I visited the market around lunchtime, it was still crowded and busy. Finally, I decided to try bánh tráng cuốn thịt heo, pork rolls with rice paper, because the rice paper looked a little different from what I've seen in Saigon. To add a bit of variety to my food experience, I chose bánh canh chả cá fish paste noodle soup as I wanted to try something with soup to balance things out. After trying the noodle soup, I found the broth tasted like crab soup. It had a thick consistency, and the noodle seems to be made from tapioca flour. The next dish was called beef offal salad. It was quite chewy and yummy. Pork rolls, the fermented fish sauce was stronger and more concentrated in flavor. Therefore, the flavor of food in Gòn market is quite different from Saigon. Based on my personal taste, I'll give it about 5 out of 10, just average. Luckily, my first night in Da Nang was Sunday, which meant I had a chance to watch the Dragon Breathing Fire show. The ticket was around $6 per person, which included a drink, snack, and watch traditional dance before the boat departed. If you want to watch the Dragon Breathing Fire, make sure to go on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. It's better if we arrive at the harbor a bit early, around 8 p.m. After the dance performance, the boat started cruising slowly out onto the river, heading toward the Dragon Bridge. Sitting on the boat, enjoying the nice breeze and the sparkling lights along the Han River was an incredible experience. The boat glided so smoothly and gently that it felt like I was floating above the clouds.
Stuck in the middle of coming inside and walking out. Just stay for a little. You say as you close the door behind me, look in the mirror, hearing you whisper in my ear. Say, are you a sinner or a beginner? Yeah, let's get unpredictable tonight. You and me and vodka cola light. And I'm putting myself in situations, standing on my own. They say that you love a confrontation, and that everybody knows your white lies, white scars, all nights, black bars, burning me out.
And on the second day in Da Nang, I booked a day tour to Cham Island. The cost for a person was around $20. When I arrived at Cham, I rented a motorbike which cost $2.50 and rode around the island to explore the scenery and visit Cham heritage site that still remain here. I had seen a lot of reviews saying Cham was stunning and beautiful. However, when I went to Cham, it was raining non-stop. But honestly, the rainy season allowed me to observe the real daily life of the local living on the island. And this is Hai Tang Pagoda, which was built in 1758, meaning it's more than 260 years old and located just about 300 meters from the pier. The name Hai Tang is a combination of Hai and Tang. It means Buddhist scripture. Baicheng is known for its natural rock formations, stacked one over another, called yin-yang rocks, symbolizing the harmony between heaven and earth. Its untouched beauty is also evident in the soft white sand and the clean crystal clear water. One special highlight on the island is the ancient well, a unique historical site and the only source of fresh water for people living on the island. And on the third day, I decided to rent a motorbike once again to go to Hoi An. The reason I chose a motorbike was riding allows me to enjoy the scenic coastal views, breathe in the fresh air, and have full control over my schedule while exploring Hoi An. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Hoi An was one of the busiest international trading ports of Southeast Asia, attracting merchants from Japan, China, India, Portugal, and the Netherlands. By the early 19th century, large ships could no longer dock here, and a new port was built in Da Nang. This shift helped preserve the ancient architecture of Hoi An almost intact. In 1999, UNESCO recognized the Hoi An ancient town as a World Cultural Heritage Site due to its historical significance. Cantonese Assembly Hall, also known as Guangdong Assembly Hall or Chuong Temple, it was built in 1885 by Cantonese merchants. The hall is dedicated to Guangkong, famous general in Chinese history who symbolized the six virtues: loyalty, righteousness, wisdom, compassion, bravery, values essential for merchants in business. Hoi An is famous for its lantern, which symbolize peace, light, good fortune, and protection from negative energy. After walking around for a while, I got pretty hungry. Coincidentally, we found a restaurant. Its name is the same as one of my friends who was visiting Hoi An with me, and that made us laugh a lot because I said this is her restaurant. The food prices here were quite reasonable. After our satisfying lunch, we took a break at Mart Hoi An herbal drink shop. What impressed me the most were the nostalgic decor: a tile dome roof, bamboo-like fixtures shaped like conical heads, and woven basket that created a very charming vibe. The owner also displayed souvenirs like bamboo cups, ceramic bowls, and vintage style Mart branding from its humble beginning as a street-side drink stall. Mart is actually the nickname of the young local owner, has now become a popular checking spot for visitors to Hoi An. After a heavy rain, we continue exploring the ancient town. As the evening approached, shops selling lanterns and souvenirs began to light up, making Hoi An look even more romantic and colorful. In the heart of the town, we came across a ready-to-wear Ao store. Many tourists were visiting, so we stopped by too. Inside, Ao were available in a variety of sizes and styles, perfect for wearing on the spot or gifting. We arrived at the boat dock in the Hoài River. Unfortunately, due to the rain, the lantern boat rides were cancelled. The river was calm and quiet during the rainy season, and the boat rowers seemed to be hoping for the weather to clear up. Sadly, I couldn't experience the lantern release this time, but I promised to return to Hội An on another occasion. Although we had a full lunch earlier, I still feel a bit hungry, so I found a snack vendor selling grilled sausage over hot stone, and I decided to give it a try. It was incredibly delicious, chewy, tender. I felt like I could continue eating that for 10 more. It was time to head back to Da Nang to end our adventure in Hội An. Hội An ancient town is like an old book, with each step being a page step in time. It's not noisy or fast-paced, rather, it's peaceful, slow, and full of nostalgia. And if you're looking for a healing travel destination, I believe Hội An is a place worth visiting. The rain had just stopped in the early morning, making a final day of my trip, and Bana Hills was my chosen destination for the 4th day. At 8 a.m., I waited for the bus to pick me up. Bana Hills is quite far from my place, so I decided to book a tour to go to Bana Hills. On the way there, everyone stopped by a traditional silk factory. We got to experience and learn about the silk making process. The road up to Bana Hills was incredibly scenic. It felt like we were driving along the plain paths in Dalat. Sun Group had investigated into Bana Hills, around $1.5 million, according to some articles I've read. After more than 35 kilometers, we finally arrived. The air was refreshingly cool, and it was my first time visiting Bana Hills, and I was beyond excited to finally experience it in my real life. The Cham gate greeted us at the entrance, a structure designed by a Belgian firm, featuring symbols of the moon and sun. To reach the main attractions, we walked about 5 minutes past the ticket checking gate to get to Hội An station, where we board the cable to ascend the mountain. The cable system at Sun World Bana Hills is ranked among the top 10 most impressive cable systems in the world and was built using Austria and Swiss technology.
A few moments later.
The Golden Bridge is one of Bana Hills' most iconic photo spots, often enveloped in thick mist. The bridge seemed to float in mid-air, held by 2 massive stone hands. Surrounded by the dreamy fog of Bana Hills, we reached a romantic and poetic spot. The entrance to Linh Ấn Pagoda was decorated with statues inspired by the journey to the west. Inside the pagoda ground stood a 27-meter tall statue of a Buddha, made entirely of solid white stone. After half day of sightseeing, we headed down with an elevator to enjoy our lunch buffet. I was quite curious and excited to see what the buffet at Banana Hills offered. Once I finished lunch, I moved on to Fantasy Park to explore and play games. Most of the games were free, except for the Alpine Coaster ride. We also visited Saint Denis Church, a standout landmark in the French Village area of Banana Hills. It's a scaled-down replica of the famous Basilica of Saint Denis in France, built in classic European architectural style, giving us the feeling of stepping into the Europe right in the middle of Banana Hills. Banana Hills truly was a memorable journey. I had heard so much about this place, about the record-breaking cable car, the iconic Golden Bridge, the charming French villages, and the beautiful climate all year round, but nothing compares to actually experiencing it in person. Banana Hills is absolutely a must-visit destination, where every step offers an emotional and unforgettable experience.